Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Super Groupies Are Targeting NFL Players. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can always like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from more than 100 celebrities for just $19.95. So give it a try. Buy it for yourself or as a gift for somebody you know. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. There is a new phenomena rising up in the world of professional sports that has a lot of people worried. It has the athletes worried. It has their wives and their girlfriends scared to death. It has their accountants and their managers scared. It's causing headaches for their lawyers. A lot of people are concerned because the problem is getting worse by the day. What is it? It's the rise of super groupies. Now, super groupies are not like normal groupies who will sleep with a player just for fun or for money. These super groupies are apparently so incredibly good looking and have such an hypnotic effect on professional athletes that once the player sleeps with one of them, he seems to lose his mind and become obsessed with her. Apparently, there are professional crews out there that are managed by men who recruit some of the most stunning women in the world, women from Brazil, Poland, Colombia, Russia, and other countries, and then bring them to the US and train them for the express purpose of scamming professional athletes. You got it, athletes. Now, they're taught how and where to meet the athletes. They're given extremely attractive wardrobes that accentuate their special curves. They're taught what to say and what not to say. Then they're trained how to lure and ensnare several rich athletes from different teams at the same time so they can develop several revenue streams. So, what sort of problems have some of these super groupies caused some athletes? Well, it's a long list. There was one NFL player who was so hypnotized by the looks of one of these super groupies that had targeted him that he was apparently getting almost no sleep at night, and that was affecting his performance on the field. Gee, I can't imagine what kept him up all night. Who knows? Maybe it was the groupie. Some of these women are so stunning that they'll get an athlete to buy them a condo or a new car within weeks of meeting them. Another problem is how easily some of these women can get pregnant, which is where the real payoff is. If they can get an athlete to get them pregnant, then that's where the abortion negotiations begin. That's right. You heard me correctly. The abortion negotiations. The first thing that almost every married professional football player says when a groupie tells him that he's gotten her pregnant is that he wants her to get an abortion. This is where all her training and acting skills come into play. She's already been trained on what to say and how to say it, how much crying to do and when to do it, how to demonstrate to him that she really loves the baby and what a huge emotional problem it would be for her and her family and her religious convictions if she were to abort the child. But oftentimes, this is just scripted discussion designed to get him to offer her more and more money over time to terminate the pregnancy. But the clock is ticking, and every player knows that once that baby is born, then a court can force him to pay very significant child support, and that can be ultra expensive. And if you get enough super groupies pregnant, they can bankrupt you. So be careful. The other really big expense is that if this goes public and his wife finds out and she files for divorce, then he'll be suddenly on the hook to potentially 2 women, and that can be a major headache. What some players will do is something called groupie swapping. They do this to try to mitigate all the damage that and the economic fallout that follows when you get multiple women pregnant. Groupie swapping is where you introduce your super groupie to another player before her pregnancy becomes visible, the pregnancy that you created, in the hopes of dumping your problem on the other guy. Typically, what they'll do is they'll introduce her to a player on an opposing team and try to get him hooked. This way, it becomes another team's headache, another player's headache. It becomes somebody else's headache other than your headache. Now, you have to admit, it's a diabolically clever strategy. So how can you tell when a super groupie walks in? Well, the first thing you'll notice when she comes into the basketball arena is that almost everybody stops and looks. And those guys that aren't looking, they're just pretending not to be looking, but they're looking. They're just being more discreet. It's sort of funny, actually, because they're so stunningly good looking and oftentimes so provocatively dressed that men who are sitting in the arena with their wives will often get slapped by their wives for staring too hard at the super groupie for too long. So why do these women most often target NFL players instead of players on other leagues? Well, it's because historically, NFL players have had the highest salaries of any athletes in any league. And these women are pros. And what do pros do? They always chase the most significant amounts of money, and that means the NFL players. So what's worse than a super groupie? Well, get ready for this. There are actually groups out there called groupie teams who will work together and go home with a player. Oftentimes, they may be twins. Now, they'll all go home and jump into bed with a player, and they'll both try and get him to impregnate them that night. To me, that sounds like an express train to the nearest bankruptcy court, but who knows? It always seems like every professional athlete thinks he has it under control and he can handle it until it all goes sideways and the letters from the lawyers she's hired start being served on him. Once the player sees how much money she's demanding for child support, then everybody goes nuts and the drama begins. In the meantime, she's probably already dating a couple of new athletes just to keep the scam train rolling. Don't you just love football? Thank you for watching. I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we encourage you to subscribe to our free channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.